Showtime.
It's about that time.
Let's go.
You're right where you need to be. This is GCOM Radio.
Hardest radio station on the planet. Yeah.
Powered by Lyfeblood.com.
We certified.
And hosted by Nova Phoenix.
Give them that flavor.
This is a first official instrumental.
Yes. Yeah, we are here, man. We are here today. One more show, one more beautiful day of living. How has y'all week been? How has it been? Mine has been great. Loving all the gifts that life has to give. And I will never, ever, ever try to put it into a space where I just, where I take it for granted. So thank you for life. Thank you, ancestors, for all the life that I have in my body, in my mind, giving me the ability to dream, think, and be a better person one day after the next. So I do appreciate this life that I have been gifted with. Yeah, my name is Nova Phoenix. I'm your host on GCOM Radio on iHeartRadio. And we are here once again to give you those special treats, the topics that you can speak to one another on after you finish watching this show, and also the music that we will bestow upon you for all those indie artists out there doing their thing. And I have some special treats. Yeah, man. Yeah, so we're going to get right to it, man. We're going to get right to it. You know this funny thing? My mic is bugging out. I have my mic, and it's been tripping, and let me learn from past experience, and that's the beauty of living, that we actually go through past experiences and we can apply it to whatever issues that we're going through. Today, my mic is bugging out, man, and it's like going in and out. Not even going in and out. There's just a lot of, for some reason, I'm getting, static through the mic. So I switched headphones, and it's not the headphones, and now I don't hear the static anymore. So I was going to try to test it to see if the static was actually going to be recorded, but it disappeared. I don't know. So it's been going in and out. So before, let me not wait and then until the static it can't disappear, or it just stays with the mic, and then I need to record and I can't record. You know what? Let me just go ahead and just get a new mic, and when this finally conks out, then I already have a mic ready to go to listen to. So yeah, man, I had this mic probably for about 10 years. I think I think it's less than that. Now I want to say 10 years, probably like 7-8 years. And it's a great mic. It's a Yeti Blue mic. I love this mic. Let me tell you, maybe there could be equivalent mics out there that you can use, and it'd be great. But this one, Blue Yeti, love it to death, man. Love it to death. Anyway, let's get this going. Okay, Torey Lanes, man. Torey Lanes, this is old news, but what is going on? Torey, you know what? I totally believe Megan Thee Stallion that Torey did some idiotic business, or what he did as far as pulling out that pistol and shooting her in the feet. I do believe Meg Thee Stallion all the way. But at the same time, I was trying to understand where Torey was coming from, and he was staying like unusually quiet until he finally felt the need to come forward. Of course, everybody knows how he came forward. He decided to set it up like it was some sort of opportunity to drop an album. I'm like, wait a second, bro. Wait a second. So all this stuff came out about you to question your character. Everybody's jumping on Meg Thee Stallion's side, how you did her dirty. I mean, extra dirty. I've never heard anything of that sort until I heard you do it. And then you figured that the best way to respond to this situation was to drop an album. Yo, is it not the worst? The most trivial, backwards, dumb nigga shit that you have ever heard. And yes, I'm using the N-word. You want to turn this into some sort of circus show, and so you could sell it. Yo, guaranteed, bro, ain't nobody buying that album. Ain't nobody buying that piece of shit album. I'm waiting to see when you're going to deport it. Now, I thought I was being over the top saying to deport your ass, but now I really want them to deport your ass because you're not taking it serious. You should be freaking talking like, yo, you know, this is what happened, boom, boom. Come in humbly. Oh, you want to come in extra? Nah, nigga. Get out of here with that. Keep it pushing. Ain't nobody buying your joint. And what's his name? Rick Ross is right. So shut your punk ass up. Anyway, moving on. Showing love to Rihanna. Oh, she got Rihanna swag. She got some things coming up. She just dropped like a teaser video on Amazon Prime. And it's going to actually be broadcasted or dropped on Amazon Prime for her Savage Fenty show, Volume 2. She wants to show what's new on this I guess lingerie line. So it's dropping this Friday. Check it on out. I'm gonna definitely check it out, man. Definitely gonna check it out. See what everybody wanted to drop music, and Rihanna is so not in that space right now. And not that she doesn't want to, but I'm pretty sure she's like, I'll get to it when I get to it. She's probably doing writing here and there, spending her extra time, their free time. And let me get with some writers in the studio and see if I could just hammer out just play with it, do a skeleton track, probably knock out a couple joints. So I know she's not totally like detached from the music element. She's just taking her time, man. She's making this money off of this Fenty. Big ups to Rihanna. Shout out Rihanna. What up, Rihanna? What up, Riri? So she doing her thing. So, on a more serious note, the charges on the officers never came through, and it's crazy that these charges didn't happen with Breonna, and I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised because they were talking about they want to send cops out just to prepare, and as soon as they started talking about business boarding up the windows and sending cops out and all that stuff. I knew that it was gonna be some bullshit. And here you go. You got this dude. Oh man, this dude, A.G. Daniel Cameron. Oh, the shuffling his feet, shuffling motherfucker. Oh, coon ass Sambo dude. Oh, Daniel Cameron. Yo, if that is not the quintessential face of a coon ass motherfucker that did not even protect her mother or protect his mother, protect his sister, protect his niece, protect anyone within the family, a close friend. This motherfucker sold all the way out so he could see about, and supposedly he's married to Mitch McConnell's daughter. I saw an article saying that it was not Mitch McConnell's granddaughter, not daughter, but granddaughter. But that don't matter. Oh, this coon. Oh, smiling, shuffling his feet. He got his handkerchief over his right shoulder, ready to start shotting some shoes, boy. Oh, listen, I think, and you know what? That dude is 100% cornbread fed, homegrown Black American. Oh yeah, I know who's listening to this show. I know a lot of people listening to the show, those woke folk, they want to talk about all the time, oh, that dude must come from the Caribbean. He's got to be African. He's got to be, nah, bruh. As I said on the show before, you going to have your coons right here. So it don't matter if you Caribbean. It don't matter if you from the continent of Africa. If you shuffling your feet for that dollar to make smile and be comforted, woo-hoo, in the warm bosom of white supremacy. Yeah, you come from anywhere, bro. But the thing about it, come from him, he's going to get 86. Because as they say, it's been floating out there, there ain't no retirement when it comes to being a coon. Ain't no retirement package. Eventually, you get ousted. So, yeah, man, but that dude fully sold out. I mean, he all the way. He dived into that water head first, Greg Louganis style into that. Oh, man. Yeah, an extra fuck you to Daniel Cameron. Because that thing, old wanton endangerment, talking about they charging the cop with wanton endangerment for shooting everything else as if this woman didn't exist. I can't believe that actually took place. Like, really, bro? He actually fixed his mouth and did all that on that press conference and all that talking. Oh, bro, killed me right there. But I'm just like, and my day was done. That next day, after hearing that, I'm like, I need a break. I need I forgot what they call it, black man break, or whatever you call it. We got to come up with an official term. Like when you hear some bullshit come out in the news and it involves black folk on some bullshit, yeah, I need my break. Because imagine if you got to go into work and act like, because I had the question asking me when going about my business, hey man, so how's your day? I'm like, oh, how's your week? And of course, you know how black people got to be. We got to act totally normal. Oh, everything's cool. Nah, man. Yeah, I needed a break. And I wasn't playing that game. I was like, I'm going to remove myself and I need to take my own mental break. And so sure enough, I did. And that's connected to Kamala Harris. Oh, man. Kamala Harris. All right, so Kamala Harris was on Angela Yee's show. So, excuse me. Oh, I'm mixing up the Angelas. Not Angela Yee, Angela Rye. And I love Angela Rye because she gets down on CNN and when she's talking with Chris Cuomo and all the other shows that she's on. So I like Angela Rye. She got a sharp tongue. I like what she does. But this particular interview is what got me. So yeah, she had Kamala Harris on the show, and there was a little soundbite, a little clip that was played on her IG profile. I forgot the name of her show, her podcast, whatever. So she's talking to Kamala Harris, and she asked Kamala, so how do you feel about what happened to Breonna Taylor and what took place with the charges? Oh, folks, man, listen. That was so sad. Let me tell you something. If you want to see some hemming and hawing like never before, if you want to see a classic dance around a question, and it was a softball question. Now, of course, this clip is from the larger interview on Angela Rye's show, but I didn't even feel like watching that whole thing because I got everything that I needed to know right from that clip on her IG profile. Oh, Kamala was hemming and hawing and dancing around the question and saying, oh my God, Breonna needs some justice and we stand all that. But nothing. She couldn't even pretend like you were going to do something. She didn't even say that. It was like, just look at the comments. Go to Angela Rye's profile on that particular interview. See the comments because everybody was reading through that shit like a window pane. Like looking through a window. Everybody was seeing right through that bullshit talk. And she was just like, oh. So I'm like, oh, so we're not even going to pretend like we're going to do something for Breonna Taylor. All right. Now, you couldn't even say, just play it for the camera. It wasn't even, she wasn't even going to play it for the camera. Not only did she not say anything in regards to Breonna Taylor and how it was some BS, she didn't even say what type of legislation or some sort of tangibles, constructive legislation that was going to be put forth to avoid any future Breonnas happening in wherever across America, whatever state, city, county. Let me throw that one in there. She didn't even say anything in regards to the future. So we could keep this. She can't, okay, there's nothing I can really do about the current case. They decided not to do anything. Maybe we could do something federal as far as appointing somebody at something like that, right? Just for Breonna Taylor right now, right? It's anything that could happen. And then, all right, and then jump to something to say, in the future, this is what we want to put forth. I will speak to Biden to see what we can come up with or sit down with a round table because, yeah, this has gone too far. We need to stop this in its tracks. But what did we hear? Oh, what did we hear? Absolutely. That's exactly what we heard. Absolutely nothing. And that boiled my blood because my thing is, if I'm supposed to vote for Biden, if I'm supposed to vote for VP Kamala Harris, am I just voting, as I said before on the show, to get rid of the big bad meanie that's in office right now and give all the responsibility to Biden and Harris? Is that what I'm supposed to do as my vote? Am I getting nothing more? That's it. So what you're telling me right now, based on this little clip that I saw on Angela Wright's show, what you're telling me right now, for the future, I should expect future Breonnas to be shot down and killed, and nothing is going to happen with those police officers. Absolutely nothing. And is that what I'm giving my vote for? And that little clip shifted my decision on how I'm going to vote. Not to say it was a definitive. It should be a definitive moment. A lot of people would say, well, that's all you need to know, no? But it, to me, is about strategy. And there are decisions that we're not going to be happy to make right now, but it's for the greater good as we move forward. We shouldn't vote for now, folks. We shouldn't be voting for now when you make that choice to vote. We should vote for tomorrow and 5 years down the line and 10 years. And not just for voting, excuse me. Let me replace that word with strategize. Let's put strategize, and if we want to put voting within that word, whatever that means, wherever it fits, yeah, we got to start thinking long-term strategy. And it's not going to be the greatest decision that we make, what we see before us right now that is in the Democratic Party. But yeah, we should do what's necessary. And if we need to get out Trump, if we need to remove this fool and get this fuckboy out of here, it is symbolic. Just like the pulling down of those racist ass statues down south. And we're going to turn a new page or turn a corner to a new America. If taking down this fool, like taking down those fucking racist ass statues, if that's what it means to be symbolic for the failure, for the utter failure of white supremacy trying to rear its ugly head once again in 2020, then so be it. It's symbolic. But then we got to do the hard work. What's the hard work? Keep our foot on their neck. And we're going to push forward and put together a strategy that's going to work for the people. Because right now, oh man, I ain't got a lot of faith or confidence that the folks that we're putting in, or the folks that want to vote for Kamala and Biden, is going to do any good for the people. Now, I see a lot of high profile public figures getting behind Kamala and Biden, but they're good. They have money. I'm not talking about the rich people. I'm talking about the poor people. I'm talking about the people that are not supported by a system when it comes to corrupt police officers. What are we going to do about the gangs, the white supremacist gangs in certain PDs? What are we going to do about the racial disparities? What are we going to do about the inequalities? What are we going to do about these things that black people suffer from day in and day out? And are we going to turn that corner to make a better America? I'll get to that a little bit more later. The social dilemma. All right. So I spoke about the social dilemma last week. And sorry, folks, if I haven't been posting. I've been, dealing with a lot. I can't give my whole life to posting and to content on IG. I just can't do that. Right. So I got stuff to do with Lyfeblood. I got to come up with some new things for the next show. And then life happens. I'm also a father. I'm also a husband. I gotta hang out. So I can't be on the go pulling the trigger on getting content on IG. But when I can, I will. And for them to program you to think that you should, feel sorry that you're not posting every single day, 3 times a day. I'm like, I don't think I should feel guilty about that. When I'm ready to post, I'll post. When I got something to give. So yeah. So the social dilemma, man, what I was speaking about last week hit the #1 spot for September at Netflix. A dope doc. I encourage everybody to see that. I'm talking about the issues of social media. Can we make that adjustment? As I said, if a lot of people is watching that documentary, a lot of people are thinking about it. If it's #1 on Netflix. So a lot of people want a change. And they see it, and they want to change because they see it right there in that documentary. That's why it was #1 on Netflix. But what do we do about it afterwards? That's the question. What do we do about it afterwards? If we understand the problem, you can't expect these social media sites that are considered the establishment social media platforms to do it because they're too well entrenched. Their whole lives is based on the business model they have cultivated over the last 5-10 years or whatever the lifespan of these social media platforms. So that's what I'm looking forward to. We'll see about that. We'll talk more about that later. ASMR, man. ASMR. Everybody knows what ASMR is. Anybody knows what that means? Autonomous Sensory Meridian Response. It's a tingling sensation. As I said, I'll read it. A tingling sensation that occurs when some people hear soft noises, such as whispering or crisp sounds, such as tapping and crinkling. Why am I bringing that up? You know what? I just was going through these articles on Yahoo. I think that's one of the major pages website. what do you call it? Journalistic websites, whatever you want to call it, that I go to. For some reason, I just go to yahoo.com first. And I saw ASMR, and the title was, I wasn't looking for it, but the title was Black People Getting Left Out of ASMR. I'm like, what the hell is this? So as I said, it's this thing that people do on YouTube where they speak and they whisper, and then they tap, and they move their fingers like this to help people sleep. Is this the thing? Yo, people whisper on YouTube channels to help people sleep. Somehow this is soothing. And just rubbing your fingers and whispering gets people to sleep. Yo, that's crazy. The more it's like YouTube, I was today years old when I found out about that. Just forget black people not being in ASMR, this thing on YouTube, but just in general what this is. It's a thing. You know what else is a thing that I found out? My kid was watching YouTube, and she watched these things, going through the channels, and then they had this thing. I was like, and she got my attention. I'm watching it. It's miniature cooking. That's another thing. Yeah, it's miniature cooking. I mean, they have real miniature kitchens that they focus the camera on, and all you see is fingers, and these people are making miniature meals. Real food. Like, it's a real red pepper, small, super small, and fish and rice and cabbage, whatever it was, lettuce, and they make miniature meals, and they bake too and make chocolate cakes. I'm like, again, this is a thing. So I'm like, let me go online to see how far this goes back. And I saw an article on this. In 2018, they have miniature cooking being this new rave that people like. Why? Because it's fascinating. Small food and people, it's even fascinating for me. What? Yo, I encourage you guys to look on YouTube. Miniature cooking on YouTube. Check it out. I don't even know the name of one of these channels. It should pop up when you type it up in YouTube. But yeah, it's funny. It's cute. It's wild. And hey, man, it goes to show that think up of any idea, put a camera on it, you can potentially have millions of viewers. Amazing. Next thing, Israel Adesanya. Shout out to Nigeria doing their thing versus Paulo Costa, Brazilian UFC fighter. And my man Israel Adesanya put the clinic on this dude. And I was concerned at first. I was concerned because I was like, wait a second. This Paulo Costa, this guy is pretty, he's a stock guy, man. Adesanya is a little smaller, a little slimmer. This guy had some weight behind him. And I'm like, God damn, I don't know. This guy looks serious. And watching his other fights, I'm like, damn, this guy's serious. Not to say that Adesanya is a slouch. He's a top-notch fighter. But this dude, I'm like, man, this may be a one for the, a good one. So, I didn't pay for the pay-per-view, but I did see the full fight like afterwards on YouTube because you know what I'm saying. You can find anything on YouTube. It's probably not there anymore because, UFC's trying to control the, keeping people from watching the whole damn fight. But I caught it. Let me tell you, you might catch it. Whatever you do, just go on YouTube right after the fight is done. Somebody around the world is going to upload the fight and you'll be able to see the fight. Probably it'll be there for a day or two, but they'll find it and pull it down. But anyway, I saw the whole thing. And yo, Adesanya ran the clinic on this dude. And they was two poised fighters, and they was sizing each other up, and they was throwing out the jab, throwing out that kick. All right, jab, bottom lead. Yo, it was tight. But yo, eventually, Adesanya just straight up dominated the fight. Now, let me tell you something with this. And I always said UFC cats, I think they caught up to their hand game. Because I always thought UFC cats, when they do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, their hand game was kind of whack. Your Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is good, but Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is good for people that ain't got no hands. That's why Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, it's an effective fighting form, but if you ain't got no hands, guys go to Brooklyn. I used to go to Brooklyn Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu in Brooklyn. Guys go to Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu because they're not going to win up top, so they got to grab somebody's legs and put them in a choke or put a Kimura on them or put any one of the techniques, grapple techniques, lock techniques. So, but you gotta have hands, and I always said that back in the day. I'm like, this dude ain't got no hands. He gonna run for the legs, and sure enough, they run for the legs. But in this case, cats is getting their hand game together because it's but so much laying on your back and kicking out your feet to your opponent that you can do. Because then it just looks like, dude, you corny. Get up. Let me see that hand game. If you work in your hand game with your Brazilian jiu-jitsu, then that's what's up. But don't stop. Get off the fucking mat, man. All right, stop using your legs. You're trying to keep the dude that bad. It's just corny. And then you're gonna spend 2 minutes on your back, trying to wait for the guy to come in. No, nobody's doing it. If you are skilled at locks and wrestling and grappling and all that, and your Brazilian jiu-jitsu is tight, nobody's gonna say okay and walk into you, get on their knees, and go into a half mount or a full mount and working with you. Nobody's doing that. He's waiting for you to get up off the floor. That's one of the things I hate. I hated that. I'm like, okay, so we gonna do this whole thing on the floor? Nah, you gotta get your hand game right. And sure enough, Israel Adesanya came with his hand game and put the smackings on Paulo Costa. You know what I mean? So what does this mean? Now, let's go back to boxing, all right? Because I think we can both learn each other. So Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu have to learn from boxers, and boxers have to stop being lazy. All right, and look at Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and see what they can learn from them. Because I think a key element is missing in boxing. What's missing in boxing? Technical fighting. Technical fighters is missing, except I guess when you go into the lower weight classes. But when you come into middleweight, light heavyweight, everybody want to brawl. Because you got muscle and weight on you and you're 230 pounds, and you're stocked and you're muscled, heavily muscled. You think you just gonna brawl with this dude and throw wild haymakers and knock this dude out and be like, raw. Now, I'm gonna say I got love. I got love for this one particular dude, but I saw that from the very beginning. Deontay Wilder, he has such potential. He has such great potential. He's a great fighter. He's got that raw energy. He has that drive. He's in beast mode. The Bronze Bomber. So I like my man, all right? I like Deontay Wilder. But what I don't like about Deontay Wilder is that he be brawling. I'm like, nah, bro. You can't do the whole fight haymaking people, man. Throwing those haymakers. You can't keep doing that. You can't rely just on pure muscle and strength. You have to be a technical fighter. And that's what happened when he fought the Irish dude. I forgot that dude's name. What was the Irish dude's name? Oh, man. And he put the work in on Deontay. And I knew that was going to happen. Because then after a while, when people keep on watching your fights and studying you, Deontay Wilder versus, what's his name? Tyson Fury. All right? And after a while, people going to see what you're doing, throwing those haymakers, and they're going to work their way around that. They're either going to fucking bob and weave, they're going to fade you, and sure enough, my man got Tyson Fury, see how he was coming, and boom. There's nothing wrong with being muscle. There's nothing wrong with having weight behind you and you having raw strength. But you have to balance that with technical fighting and strategy. Learn your fighter. See how you could come in. What's his weakness? Where he's going to come in at. What does he keep doing over and over again? And then utilize your strength at the right moment. And that's what Adesanya did. He was just playing a chess game. You can't play a brawling game, man, just because you have weight. And that's why when I see that for me as a heavy guy, because over the years I've done martial arts, I like boxing mostly. I was just doing Muay Thai at a school in Queens, and then freaking COVID happened. So I had to cancel my membership. But I'll be going back. I know the gyms are open now, but I'll be going back to another gym. Probably, I don't know where I'm going to, but it's going to definitely be Muay Thai. But to me, you definitely have to be able to, if you have natural strength, fine, that's great. Figure out how you're going to fight strategically, all right? Figure out how you can be a technical fighter. If you have good technical game and you're a smaller fighter, build up your strength. Do some weightlifting. Do those techniques that's going to build up your strength so you have power behind your punch, whatever your strong hand is. But yeah, man, big ups to your man, Israel Adesanya. That's what's up, man. What's the next thing we got? Last but not least, I was just part of a conference, and this is just to show you guys how COVID-19 is changing everything. I was part of a Zoom conference meeting with New York Tech Day. New York Tech Day is coming in November, and they had this one special one called The Future of New York Tech. And what was exactly having people with established businesses and also investors, VCs, and to top it off, the meeting they had the senator of Harlem, and I'm going to get his name right now. Let me bring this up. Get his name. All right, so we had a part of this virtual meeting. It was Brian Chen at Room, Christy Horvath from Wagmo, Matt Cooper from Skillshare, Catherine Ryder from Maven, and Lucinda Shen from Fortune. And as far as those were the founder, that was the founder panel. The investor panel was Graham Brown and Lara Hippo, I think his name is Hippeau. Is Anu Dougal at Female Founders Fund. It was Rebecca Caden at Union Square Ventures, Jared Tingle at Harlem Capital, and Shai Goldman at SVB. And I forget what SVB. And then and finally we had the fireside chat. Senator Brian Benjamin, the senator for the Harlem area, the upper north area of Manhattan, and Eric Hippeau, he's one of the partners at Lara Hippeau venture capitalist group. So that was a great conference Zoom gathering, and basically they were all talking about how COVID has changed the game for business, and what new trends or what new startup businesses are being heavily favored because of COVID-19. And it's virtual learning, education, virtual working, healthcare, as far as telemedicine, etc. And a lot of these founders, as far as the founders panel, they were talking about how their business was affected from COVID. And one key thing that I got away from that, from the founders panel, was that, and I said it to you guys before, they have offices, and for right now, you do not need an office. And I think about two founders saying they just finished remodeling their main office in the city, and now it's just empty because of COVID. Nobody's going to work. Everybody's doing virtual learning. And that's just the new shift what's happening as far as workspace. And I think the genie is out the bottle as far as how businesses are moving forward for their day-to-day operations. If you and a lot of founders are probably thinking, man, how come we didn't do this before? Because Zoom was out for a long time. But when you get caught up in patterns and you're used to doing things day in and day out repeatedly, that's just what you do. But because of COVID, it kind of opened the door to a new way of working and the day-to-day operations of your business. And they said, to be honest, if you have a lease with your business and it's in the city, you might as well figure out a way to cancel it, because it doesn't make sense to have an office. You could work at home. Now imagine all of these businesses, and it's going to happen. They are spending millions of dollars on renting out space on the island of Manhattan, Midtown Manhattan, Lower Manhattan. And then all of a sudden this COVID thing is coming around, and then Zoom is doing really well. And it's just not Zoom. There's a lot of video conferencing that's done from other brands. And, they're like, wait a second, why are we paying $10 million a month for this space when we can literally half our office space and have the rest of our employee staff working at home? Like, it's just makes so much financial sense. Why would you do anything opposite of that? And if I had an office and I was a CEO and I'm spending millions of dollars, damn right I'm going to try to get out my lease. And so it is said, so it is done. And I've even heard businesses right now, they're actually offering to pay your internet, a portion of your internet, buy a computer desk for you. And I think some other things, I'm not so sure in particular, but because they're saying we're going to give you the option for working at home or if you want to work in the office. And if big businesses are going to open office space post-COVID, it's not going to be as big as it once was before. They're going to have something probably half the size. Bro, what the real estate management companies, what are they going to do? They're going to be like, man, we got all this extra space. Nobody's going to be taking them. Maybe they will. Maybe new businesses are going to come up and say, hey, I want this. But definitely, it just goes to show how everyone is being affected by COVID. And the real estate management businesses is taking a smacking. And it wasn't about office space, but as I said before, the new businesses that are coming out of that. And the conversation was a real good conversation with Senator Brian Benjamin talking with Eric Hippa, talking about how they can revitalize the city. Even though we're going through what we're going through with COVID, we could take this opportunity to revitalize the neighborhood, get people into some education programs, training programs. How can we take the steps and strategize to rebuild the city, rebuild the Big Apple into the future, the 21st century New York? And there was a variety of different topics, and I was inspired by that. And hopefully I can help in whatever way that I can. I'm definitely going to reach out. As a matter of fact, I did reach out to the senator, but I got to reach out to one of his handles. I got to reply on the email, see what ways where Lyfeblood can help kind of be a part of that new change and strategy when it comes to what's happening in New York City. So yeah, man, that was dope. All right, so we're going to get out of here. We're going to get into the first couple of songs that I have here. We're going to get into Daria, Savannah with Black, and I think that's so hot. I don't even know where she comes from, but Daria Savannah, she made a song, Young, Gifted, and Black, and I think it's definitely a song that we need, and hopefully it could turn into the anthem for years and decades to come for the Black community, African American community, because you need that push, you know, you need that inspiration, that get that battery in the back. Even though we're going through everything that we are going through, that we have to continue to push and be the greatest individuals, or greatest people that we can be, because we are wondrous people, and we must never forget that. And we've been through worse, and we're gonna get through this. So excuse me. So always remember, you're young, you're gifted, and you're Black. And even if you're not young, you're middle-aged or you're older, you are gifted and you are Black. And remember who you are. Remember our lineage. Remember where we came from. We are the beginning. We have always been the beginning, the first of civilizations. Started from ancient Kemet. And everything right now is just a blip in the screen. All right? And I'll come with a little bit more of my understanding, a little bit more of my take on it. Do I have time? No, I don't have time. I ran off a long time. All right. So listen to Daria Savannah with Black, and then we're going to get into KC with You. Two dope sisters that got two dope songs that you should check out. All right. And check out their social media pages and everything like that. And you can definitely see that in the content section on my IG profile. All right, guys. So we'll be right back with the next topic. All right. Peace.
It speaks to the fact that you have the same dreams as other people. You have equal, if not more, talent at times, but you don't have the same opportunities. My answer to that is to be young, gifted, and Black.
Every day I'm Black, but right now I'm Black, giddy Black. I'm young and I'm gifted, I am royalty, that's facts. Innovative, gotta get my own and show the babies how to rock the throne with melanin magic. I hope that you catch it, will rise higher than the sky. We can have it all. Answer the call. The signals of the king, fighting for us in the ring. Tapping the rock within and see the glory keep coming, coming, coming. Judah, you hear him, he's calling for you. Something inside you, you know that it's true. So turn around and break your ways. Respect the highest grace. We be getting paid, yeah, we elevate. Keep it in the blood like it's in the safe. Breaking all the curses, we are changing up the name. We're young, gifted, and Black. Throw up your hands with a couple of snaps. Do your little dance, turn around, make it clap. Grandma, you see me, the legacy lives, cause we're young.
when you aspire to do something that is outside the realm of what the world would see you doing, and also what your family has ever achieved. Like, to be young, gifted, and black.
What it do?
It's GCOM Radio
I am one of the flyers.
on iHeartRadio.
You know when nights like this in my head, thinking of all the time that we spent. Started real cool, but then things went left. Didn't wanna believe what they said for real. Is this for real? Back at square one, we go again. Don't you know you got me here falling for you? Taking your vibe, yeah, I'm feeling for you. All I'm thinking of you, yeah, I'm really wishing that I could be yours. Think I might just ask you the question right now. This could be something, or maybe nothing. So tell me fronting, it's you I'm wanting. I gave you something, you gave back nothing, nothing here. No, nothing here. I'm done playing with you. I'm done playing with you. I'm done playing with you, yeah. Done playing with you. I need to walk away and say goodbye. 2 + 2 = 4, but it doesn't mean you and I. Yeah, you played it real cool. Wish we could just go back in time. Guess I never ever get it right. Take 2 steps, then back another 5. You know on days like this, feel the phone you for some closure. You know on days like this, I feel I'm losing all composure. Think I might just ask you the question right now. This could be something, or maybe nothing. So tell me fronting, it's you I'm wanting. I gave you something, you gave back nothing, nothing here. No, nothing here. I'm done playing with you. I'm done playing with you. I'm done playing with you, yeah. Done playing with you. I need to walk away and say goodbye. I'll just keep moving on, and maybe you might catch on or not. Can't keep waiting for you. Maybe it is your loss. I'm done. I'll just keep moving on. Maybe you might catch on or not. Oh, no. I'm done playing with you. I'm done playing with you. I'm done playing with you, yeah. Done playing with you. I need to walk away and say goodbye.
Take control.
This is GCOM Radio, powered by Lyfeblood.com. Come join, be a lifer. Practice dollar power and build financial independence.
All right, so we're back. That was Daria Savannah with Black, and big ups. I love that song, and I keep that on rotation. We should blast that on the speakers in every black community. Be inspired, be great, be the best people that you can be, and always remember your history, man. Remember your history, and that's. I'll get into that in a second. Just a short one before we go into business of the week. And KC, you heard KC, lovely song with you. Coming right out of London. I think she comes from Essex. Oh, shout out to Casey. Let me just make sure, because I didn't write down the place. And we got a lot of London people, man. I'm glad I'm connecting with my London folk. She's from Essex. Essex out there in the UK, man. Shout out to all my folks that's in the UK. Yeah, Casey's doing nothing with you. And we love her music, and we're going to keep on playing more of her music. That's what we're here for with GCOM Radio, supporting indie artists. All right, so right before we go into Business of the Week, there was a little something that I was just said earlier, couple seconds ago with history, and it involves my daughter. So my daughter came to me, and we said, she was talking, she was reading a book about Barack Obama, and she was on one page of a book, and it showed a white water drinking fountain and a black water drinking fountain. And she asked me, Daddy, what's this mean? I was laying down, I'm on my social media, and man, wow, okay. How should I talk about this? So I put down my phone. I thought for a couple of seconds, about 20 seconds. And I told her the story about the water fountains, the separation of black people drinking from their water fountains and white fountains. And she says to me, why the water fountain in the book looks run down. Now, personally to me, and I have to take a look at this picture again, it did not look like the water fountain. And I need to read the paragraph. Maybe the paragraph said something, but from the picture, the water fountain that was a black water fountain, she said looked run down. And the white water fountain was in much better condition. And it didn't look like that to me in the picture. And I'm like, where is she getting this? And now that I'm thinking about it, now I'm talking about it, and I'm like, maybe it said something in the paragraph where she feels that the black water fountain is in, it's broken down. But I started to tell her the story of why there was a separation of water fountains and segregation and what black people was going through post-slavery in the 50s and the 60s and the other decades. And that at one point that we had to drink from separate water fountains. But then people decided that will no longer be the case. And they protested and they fought and they marched. And they changed things, how the society was working, how people interacted at that time. And then she got into a question of slavery, and because I mentioned it, and I talked about it. And I said, listen, slavery is just one small part of human history, one small part of African history. It's about 400 years. And then she asked me, so how long is our history? She asked me, Daddy, how long is our history? And I said to her, we're an old people, baby girl. We're ancient people. We go back to the beginning of human time. And she, how long ago? I said, let me see. And of course, as everybody knows, I go to the Googles. I went to the Googles and I looked it up. And I say human history, the beginning of humans. And it said 300,000 years ago. And I told her, and she knows this, I told her before, where did human beings first start? And we both said Africa. And they migrated out. So she said, wow, that's African history. I didn't say African history. I said the beginning, human history is vast in comparison to the transatlantic slave trade. And she's like, wow, that's long. That's a lot of African history. And I was like, yeah, you're right, baby girl. I said, you're right. Yes, that is long African history. That's one way of putting it. I just chuckled. In human beings, everybody knows the first humans, the oldest bones was found in Africa. And that took about, from there, roughly 300,000 years. So that's 300,000 years of human history, African history, as a part of that human timeline. And the thing about what we went through as African people in the transatlantic slave trade, about 400, and technically it's shorter. But say 400 years of oppression, that's a blip. That's a blip. African history didn't start in the transatlantic slave trade. African history started 300,000 years ago. Understand what I'm saying, people? So it's important to know your history. Know who you are. Understand the greatness. And through those millennia, they were, and she even actually, my daughter said that. Oh, and then we did have bumps and ups and downs. Like, yes, baby girl, you're right. We did have ups and downs. But we are here today. And what we are going through is just another blip, another bump in African history. And we will carry on, and we will continue to fight, and we will win. All right, so we're going to go into the business of the week. what do we have going on here, folks? All right, so check this out.
Ladies and gentlemen, for that
Bringing you the business of the week and its innovative founders. It's what you've been waiting for.
A black woman's hair is her crown. This crown can be presented in endless ways. In every way, it's her royalness displaying her beauty and attitude. It's shown in her locks, faux and real, twists, coils, short and curly, natural blown out afros, and of course, box braids, twist braids, cornrows, braids blended with afro puffs. There are many techniques and styles for her to wear. One new way of doing braided hair is knotless braids. Who pushed this style of braiding? The knotless queen, Miss Hair and Humor, Camila Geristant. She sets the high standard of hair braiding, with many interviews and publications talking about her background and passion for braiding, and being one of the braiders in Beyonce's Black is King video. She goes down in history as the important braid weaver of her day. In her journey, Miss Geristant created a network, Knotless Nation, in order to gather, teach, and connect with skilled hair braiders and beginners. Also, she released a book, Beyond the Braids, detailing the do's and don'ts of hair braiding. It's a family affair of embracing one's own natural curls that has been a part of us for thousands of years. Lyfeblood.com would like to salute the Knotless Queen for carrying on the tradition of hair braiding and empowering generations of black women with a sense of self, love, and pride. All right, so we're back, folks. Yeah, and just to leave this off, how I started on this segment, to leave this off like that. Martin Luther King Jr. said, "The arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends towards justice." We will have our justice. All right, so what do we have going here? So a couple of thoughts that I was thinking about. And I say everything with Lifeblood and what I was thinking about before, and all these things that are happening. And I think that the current events is calling for Lifeblood. It's calling. It's calling me, but it's calling Lifeblood because I see people asking for it. I see people asking for it online. I see people asking for it in articles. I see people ask for it on social media. And everything that we're going through right now leads, for me, did I say, to Lyfeblood.com. With the social dilemma, and everybody was talking about the immoralities that social media platforms are doing in order to get more money out of you, to grab your attention so they could get more money from the advertisers, and how certain things is just collateral damage if they are considering us the product. That there is collateral damage when it comes to extracting money from us. And I think in that sense, the social dilemma, we do have a dilemma. And everything that Lifeblood is, the business model that we stand by, the mission statement, even though I don't get anything messed up as far as existing within this capitalistic system. And I think we are going through headfirst into hyper-capitalism. And I think if we do have to live in the capitalist system, how can we make it work for the people? And there are a lot of those that say, nah, I don't think it could work, Nova. I think we need to throw the baby out with the bathwater. But capitalism is not going anywhere. So we have to do our best with what we have in order to bring justice, or to bring some sort of equilibrium between the people and the people we choose to lead us. And I think we can change that by just thinking differently. We don't have to put out laws. We don't have to throw out algorithms. We don't have to encourage other people to get. We can do it with use of a simple choice. And that simple choice can move towards Lyfeblood.com. Now, how are we going to change that way of thinking? And yeah, we're going to use that financial element with dollar power, but not just giving it to a few sources, but giving it to each other. You ever heard of that movie Dreamscape? Well, I'll just put it like this to you shortly. Dreamscape is let me put my timer on here because I don't want to run off on you guys. Dreamscape is a movie that they were using dreams as a new technology to kind of control people. And the guy, one of the main characters, figured out how to wield the powers within the dream world. And then the two people go into this dream state, and you could actually jump into a person's dreams, and you could be whatever you want. You could be the monster. You can create a whole new world, everything like that within the mind. And I have to think that just as much as that movie was talking about controlling what was going on within the dream world, within this dreamscape, I think we can control our reality in the physical world. But we have to understand our power, that we can do it ourselves. So all the taxes and saying we're X amount of dollars in debt and where we're getting this money, and all this money is being funded and they're using our tax dollars. And I say to you guys, if they're using your tax dollars to do all these other things, which goes into the trillions of dollars, if they can use your tax dollars for all these other things that you don't agree with, why don't you use the money that you are creating for each other? It's a simple choice. And I think we can be the solution to the social dilemma that we're going through today. Now, Breonna Taylor's situation also affected me. And it affected me from a business. They can say, yo, Nova, why are you so concerned? Why, are you willing to disrupt your potential connections with investors and other partners by posting things that can be considered controversial and provocative? I do it because I have no other choice. Because before I'm a business owner, an entrepreneur, a founder, I am a black man. And I go out every day being a black man, and there's nothing that can be done to change that. Even if I wanted to bleach my skin, even if I wanted to straighten my hair and color, make my eyes lighter, or talk in a white voice or whatever, there's nothing is going to change the fact that I have been born black, and I'm born black in this world. I'm born black in this country. So instead of me avoiding it and being that clown, as I said before in the previous show, being Ronald McDonald that's intact, looking at the people smiling while the background has nothing but heaps of rubble, I choose to attack it. Because regardless of what I can do, or regardless of whatever I say, this issue remains. And I can't just avoid it and think everything is okay and go on like business as usual when I talk to investors, when I talk to potential partners, when I talk about whatever deals that can come up with Lyfeblood. I cannot avoid it and smile and think that the world is not burning. And the world is going through a moment right now that we have to recognize it. So it doesn't matter if I give my employees a pool table so they can have a nice cool lunch from all their hard work. It doesn't matter if I create some sort of nice, beautiful space, multicolored, and chairs and couches, comfy couches and nice eating desks, and to make their work experience as relaxing as possible. I can't give them stock options and all these things that can go towards employees so I can butter their bread a little bit more and make it worth working at Lyfeblood.com. It doesn't matter if I have a beautiful space at the center of my building in my facility that has green grass and trees, and you could look at the skyline once you move to the center, and you could just sit down and listen to the birds chirping. It doesn't matter what I do, because as long as my employees have to leave the business space on their way home, on their way to the supermarket, when they want to visit family members, when they want to go for a bathroom break, when they leave the road, go for a walk, go for a jog, sleep, it doesn't matter what I do. Because as long as my people have to be victims of systemic racism and police brutality, as long as we have Ahmaud Arbery's and Breonna Taylor's, As long as we have Sandra Bland's and all the other victims of police brutality, when you're shopping for an air rifle, when you're holding a toy gun in a park, if you're just a little inebriated and you decided to stop by in a parking lot of a fast food joint, and then you have police officers coming to you wanting to arrest you when they could have simply just let you go and walk about your business. As long as all of those things still exist, what does it matter what I do in my own office space within Lyfeblood? And I have the big insignia, as you know what Lyfeblood is, over the archways of revolving doors. It means shit. If I can't have them go home safely and come to work safely, it means nothing. That's why I talk about it. That's why I will always talk about it wherever I go. And yes, I'm going to conduct business and do what I have to do, but it is a part of Lyfeblood.com. Understand? I will always talk about it because I'm a black man first. And Breonna Taylor could have been an employee. She could have been my sister that I'm just walking by, or someone I knew. Forget the employee part. Because she was a flesh and blood woman. And as long as my people are dying, I'm always going to talk about it, because if it could be them, it could be me. That's what Lyfeblood wants to do. Lyfeblood wants to create a space for everyone, and wants to be a solution to the social dilemma. In particular, artists for hip hop, people within the African diaspora, and pretty much all forward-thinking people around the world, but especially in hip hop. If we understand the 5 elements of hip hop and everything that it is, I think we also, and we want to take it as a culture, it's just not a music art form, then we have to treat it as a culture. And it needs structure. And it needs rules. And it needs a certain, how should I say it? Direction, so we can start treating it as a culture. Now it's just not hip hop. Hip hop is just a manifestation of the black body and mind. But everything that we are, if we are to reclaim the identity of people of African descent, the ones that did lose it, but especially in hip hop. If you understand your power, then you have to create the base for it. And if we're going to use that power, then we have to make it as efficient and do it as purposefully as possible. And just not say random words. Because right now, and say, okay, this is a culture. No, what does it mean for hip hop to be the culture? How does it look? How does it function? How does it behave? If we want to treat hip hop culture as the culture, how does it move about? Because right now we're all over the place. Hip hop is just all over the place. And I'm not saying control people's words. Shape to what hip hop is as a culture. Face as a culture. Rituals as a culture. Traditions as a culture. This is what culture is it not? Also, people that want to enjoy hip hop music, that's fine. Be a part of hip hop music, that's fine. But if we understand it as black people, that it is a hip hop culture, it is our responsibility to form it at its core. What does that mean? And we have to get the right people in place for that. Hip hop culture as African American culture, Black American culture, whatever you want to call it in America. And all are welcome, by the way. But if we're going to throw around these words, we got to be serious by what these words mean for the generations. Hip hop is 50 years old. We have grandfathers and fathers and young kids, young generation that make up the hip hop culture. Hip hop started in late 70s. We got TV shows that saying grown up hip hop. So what does that mean? That means also getting rid of the extra fat, the things that are damaging to the culture. Torey Lanes. I'm not saying that as a what do you call it? Secretly or insinuating. I'm saying it plain and simple. Torey Lanes. All right. What does that look like? Now, in terms of a website, we haven't had that since blackplanet.com. Remember blackplanet.com? Everybody old enough to know that? That was one site that catered to African American issues. It was blackplanet.com. It was just people talking. Black Planet hasn't been around in, 15, 20 years? And then it was this other thing. I forgot what it was called. Was it Black Planet? It was only Black. It was another one. But maybe it is Black Planet. But yeah, but that was like a dating site. That was, if I'm correct, that was just like dating. All right, that was one thing. And that's it. And it disappeared. I think the owner sold it and then it just went down into the doldrums. And it disappeared. We haven't had anything since. And as free as we can be in this digital age, as much power that has been put back into the lap of the individual, where you could start literally anything online, we're in the digital age, any business. What are we waiting for? I don't understand. I really don't understand. What are we waiting for? If there's 45 million black people in America, there should be 40 million people on Lyfeblood.com. And I'm saying that, yes, because I am an owner of a social media site, crowdfunding ass site. 40, look, people, and then people want to complain about Twitter. Then people want to complain. Hey, I don't even want to hear it anymore. Because as I said, it's as simple as a choice. There should be 40 million people sign up to Lyfeblood.com. And then, of course, as I said, everybody's welcome. Another 100 million Americans, everybody else, white, black, whatever, even going around the world. I don't care. There can be, just like how Facebook does, you have Russia Facebook and you have Asia Facebook and you got Argentina Facebook and Thailand Facebook. Yes, Lyfeblood will grow to that level where everyone, the door's open to everyone. But then you're going to have the African American part or Africans in the diaspora as a part of Lyfeblood.com. It doesn't make a difference. If we're having so much problems with people getting kicked off of social media and people want to complain, I mean, legitimate things that are worth talking about, but because the algorithms have been created where it just picks out these words, you get kicked off. And then whatever people listen to it. Like I said, Boozy got kicked off. Talib Kweli got kicked off of Twitter. Lyfeblood.com, you're not going to get kicked off. You're not going to get kicked off. So what are we waiting for? Why are we even waiting? Lyfeblood is right here, man. Look, we are going to Mars, man. That's why I say yes, initially at this core, African-American people can sign up with Lyfeblood.com, but it's open to everybody. We are about to go to Mars. Mars people, human beings go to Mars. Ain't got nothing to do with black. Ain't got nothing to do with white or Asian or Peloponnesian or Tibetan or Chinese. It has nothing to do with any of those things. When we send human beings to Mars, we're talking about humanity. We're talking about all of us. And Mars is the first step. And when we will, at some point, we will travel outside the solar system. What does that mean for us? How does that change our own identity as human beings on this planet? With Music Life, the next thing we see the music business, how it's controlled so many lives, artists for decades. I spoke about it before, but now we're in the digital age. But now artists can claim the power. And for some reason, as I said before, music streaming, somebody said it was the standard way to make music. I don't know who said that. I really don't know who said that. Music Life is the answer to say, listen, the power is in your hands. But the fact is, when you make it so cheap for people, for the masses, people are gonna, because in the capitalist system, people are gonna go for the lowest price, the one with value, or in the same way, devaluing. You're devaluing, diminishing yourself. You're cheapening yourself. and the things that you create. So we have to decide, you know what? Yeah, it's a little bit more expensive, but we got to decide this is for a purpose. This is for a reason. And it's not about getting something at the cheapest price, $10 a month. Because again, you are centralizing the way money is flowing, the traffic of money. And you know how much these sites are making music streaming? They're getting all this music and they're getting people to sign up, and these companies are making billions of dollars while you artists are getting pennies. Is that fair? Why are you going to do something? It makes no sense. It's illogical. Music Life is the answer for that. Kamala Harris. And as I said before, Kamala Harris, of what she said about Breonna Taylor on Angela Rye's show, that goes to show, whatever decision that you make, that goes to show that you have to be the change in this country. You have to be willing to do the hard work, to do something different, to get this country and veer it off back onto, well, I can't even say back, to a better path. It is your choice, and it's not going to come from anyone. It's not going to come from Biden. It's not going to come from senators. It's not going to come from House of Representatives. It's not going to come from one. And if someone wants to step outside of that, that's great, and you can work with them. But it's you that have to make that change. You're going to have to do the hard work. And let these folks fall in line. And you have to keep the pressure on. But you have to create alternative ways of living. And I'm not talking about some sort of a hippie enclave where what the stereotypical look of a hippie. No. You're going to have to create your own world. And it's the world, right? The same world that you walk on, that concrete path you walk on, that city you live in, that county you live in. You could change it right from where you are. You don't have to say, oh my God, I'm going to go to this like barren island somewhere off the coast of South America, and I'm going to do something different because I'm just tired of this. No, your change starts right from where you are. So, I don't want to hear anything about people don't have any money. We spend money every day. The same way where we spend money on other things and this frivolous thing and that frivolous thing, the same way we could spend our money on that, we could take that little bit and put it towards initiatives that will empower your community. If you feel your taxes are being wasted on bullshit, create your own tax. This is what Lyfeblood is going to do. Now, it's funny, this one guy was talking about this one politician that's running for president. He doesn't think that the ultra rich or the multinational companies that they run will be able to be taxed in order to get those social programs that people need. He doesn't think it can happen. I forgot the gentleman's name. It was one of the shows I watched. He's neither Democrat or Republican. He's not going to win the presidential race, but it's a start. He's crawling before he walks. And I'll get his name at some point. Create your own world, your own city. You're still going to pay taxes. You can't stop from paying taxes. But that's how Lyfeblood is going to come into the way where, you know what? We're going to make our own society. And we're going to put the money towards each other and build ourselves up. And as I say, the lateral flow of money. A decentralized way where we can put it towards communities that need it for job training, for housing, for funding new inventions, something that's that will be worthwhile to the human family. How do we do that? Right here on Lyfeblood.com. The current events that's happening, and I see it, points towards Lyfeblood.com. And the doors are open for you to join, and let's start doing this work. It's going to be hard. Now, let me tell you something. If people could come from one land and to another, the same people that started this land and everything that they faced, they could create this. This country's only 200 something years old. I think 224 or something like that. Now we just have this whole new thing that we're living in. All right? Then you have to do the work. You got to do the hard work. You want a new stage, you want a new chapter to human history in the 21st century right here in America and around the world, you're going to have to start it. And I can be of help. All right, so we're going to get into the next couple of songs here. Of course, we got to support artists because I was one myself. What do we got going? We got, and like me, rushing. I didn't have the dude ready. All right, so we got this song by this brother. We played him before. His name is Chris Jackson. His song is In Too Deep. A dope song. We played him before. We're going to play him again. And right after this brother Chris Jackson, we got Push Audio. Yo, I'd like to apologize to everyone at Push Audio, especially Chris Pritham, as the creative director, if I'm correct, for Push Audio. I missed his email. I think I was switching over servers and it got lost and it got in junk mail or something like that. I didn't see this email for like a month or two. So my bad, but I listened to this record. They have a new project that they released a couple months ago. I think in July, actually. No, it was last year, but they sent it to me and I thought it would be dope. So this is the Push Audio, the company, and with the creative director, Chris Pritham. They came out with a joint called Push Audio Love and War. And they have 10 songs that they call the love side and 10 songs they call the war side. So we're going to play actually back to back to get a song, pick a song from both sides. And I'll play I think what I have right now, I'm playing the love side. This song is called Communication with Kimbro and artist and Chris Pritham. It's called Communication. That's the love side of the project. And then next week we'll play a song from the war side. And this project is it's a release of various artists on this record. So we're gonna come with my man Chris Jackson with In Too Deep, and we're gonna play Push Audio's record off of Push Audio Love and War, the love side. The song is called Communication with Kimbro and artist and Chris Pritham. All right, guys, let's check these songs out, and we'll be right back. All right.
Ooh, a GCOM exclusive.
Focus. I took a walk on your water, now it's hopeless. You send a wave that pull me under, sweet wonder, still floating. No safer place than right here in your ocean. Ooh, you got a lot that I'm drowning. If I drown, there's no doubt I'm surrounded. Been astounded ever since I found you. Now I'm in too deep, and I know I'm free to leave, but right here's where I need to be. In too deep, and I don't need any saving. Right here's where I need to be. You said just keep your eyes on me, follow my lead. Do that and you see a different me, a whole nother lead. Show that with every breath I breathe. It's you I feel. Turn back and I just be lost at sea. Ooh, you got a lot that I'm drowning. If I drown, there's no doubt I'm surrounded. Been astounded ever since I found you. Now I'm in too deep, and I know I'm free to leave, but right here's where I need to be. In too deep, and I don't need any saving. Right here's where I need to be. Got a lot that I'm drowning. If I drown, there's no doubt I'm surrounded. Been astounded ever since I found you. Now I'm in too deep. Now I'm in, and I know I'm free to leave. Right here's where I need to be. And I don't need any saving. Right here's where I need to be.
know what you're rocking to?
Rocking with the best.
Only the best. GCOM Radio.
Let me talk to you for a second, man. You know what I'm saying? I understand where you coming from. You know what I'm saying? Just hear me out. Listen to me for a second. Yeah. I know you sick of these late nights and early mornings, but I still got the mental of these guys on the corner. You know, gotta hustle to eat 7 days a week. The more moves you make, the less you speak. Yeah, I'm just focused trying to chase the dream, but instead I get blamed for neglect. And you the only one that's on my mind while I'm chasing this check. All this back and this forth, trying to get to the source, it got me tripping. Swear you throwing my energy off. Babe, please, I know who my enemies are. I can see that you hurt, why pretend to be hard? And I understand that you've been emotionally scarred, but I'm not them. Baby girl, I'm not him. Black men don't cheat, well at least not me. Let that pain go, girl, look, I need you to see. Open up, more communication is key. Love without limitations. What is love without communication? I love when we love making. Without trust, how we gon' make it? Love without limitations. What is love without communication? I love when we love making. Without trust, how we gon' make it? Yeah.
You know I love you, baby, I don't wanna dip on you, but you're still a man, and that's why I trip on you. You say communication's it when it comes to relationships. I'm not into jumping ship, so I just wish on you. I heard you say that you was listening and you understand, but as quick as you change your stance, you be changing your plans. You say you do this for us, but you barely on the scene, cause you out here chasing dreams. Why you think we always fuss? And as far as my emotions, yeah, I got them in check, but sometimes you have me stressed when you out chasing that check. And that smack you talking, I'ma need you be more direct. How am I knocking off your energy when I just want you into me? I know that time is money, so there's more you need to spend with me. You know expressing feelings is not really what I'm into. I can open up, I just need you to be more gentle. Communication's not simple for me.
Love without limitations. What is love without communication? I love when we love making. Without trust, how we gon' make it? Love without limitations. What is love without communication? I love when we love making. Without trust, how we gon' make it? Yeah. I love when we love making. Without trust, how we gon' make it?
Yeah, so that was In Too Deep with Chris Jackson, and following one up after that, brother, was Push Audio's project. It was Push Audio's Love and War. Double CD is what we would used to call it, but I wouldn't even know what to call it. Is it two 10-track album project? Well, that's with Push Audio, Love and War. And that song was called Communication with Kimbro and artist. And of course, Chris Pritham doing his thing on that record. So listen, I wanted to just, I forgot to mention this a little earlier. And I'll just put it like this. It's plain and simple, everybody knows, of course, everything there's protesting going on in Louisville, Kentucky. And of course, people are upset with the charges or the lack thereof. Charges that were put on the police officers. Only one got charged. Now, even after that, of course, we all know that there was going to be protesting, and it was peaceful protesting. People up and about doing their thing, fists raised, shouting, all those things in support of the death and murder of Breonna Taylor. So The thing that caught me was the tactics that were used by the police. And from what I've seen from the eyes and ears that were on the ground, they were saying that there was some work that was being done between the police and some militia folks that were there after curfew to corral and to intimidate the people that were protesting. Interesting. Of course, the major news networks, they're not going to talk about that, but that's why it's important to have alternative sources of media, and especially that's why we love social media, because people can stream right from where they're at to let us know what's happening on the ground. Now, it's unfortunate that that these tactics were being placed upon the protesters. They were saying they were trying to go into a safe haven when the curfew came to go to a church, but they were surrounded by police officers and arrested. And that was just one of the things that was a problem, because a lot of the protesters were saying on camera, on the video footage, if you've seen it, they were trying to go to the church. It was a couple of minutes to 9. They were still being kind of pushed along on specific streets, and there were cops behind them, the cops in front of them. And when they were just exactly across the street from the church, so they can have a safe place to be during curfew, the officers that were standing not too far, probably like 50 feet away, rushed in and arrested these folks. So it's crazy. Now, also to hear that there were also militia people that were on the ground as well, working in tandem with the police. As we all know what that deal was with Kyle Rittenhouse when he shot those folks, and he walked towards the police RV and the squad car, and he was fine. He was able to leave and go back home. And how we also saw the footage of Kyle Rittenhouse with those other Boogaloo boys or whatever they're from. So everybody's talking about this as being law and order. And they're saying that we need law and order in Louisville, Kentucky. This is not law and order. If the police, if they're working with the militiamen in order to intimidate people, this is not law and order. This is intimidation. Trying to put the fear in people. Now, if you got some militiamen that's walking through the streets trying to, quote unquote, protect property, that's not protecting property. All these businesses are insured, especially the larger ones. And why are you coming from another state anyway, saying you want to come in and protect property? And I said this on the show before, you're not there to protect property. You're there to shoot black people. And I'm going to tell you, I'm going to keep it real. I'm going to say it again. This is not law and order where you have random people from wherever. They didn't say their names of militiamen. It was news that was there, and they say a couple of people are walking through the streets as militia. That ain't the business. That is not the business. Now, I'm not encouraging shooting police. No, I wouldn't say that. Even though in one sense, I can't understand it, because if police brutality is happening, the people are protesting against this police brutality, and all of a sudden the same police that are surrounding these people are out there in those streets around these protesters in every city, is committing crimes of violence against the people that are protesting the violence. So I kind of find a problem with that. But then these militiamen, this is a whole nother deal. Now, I'm going to keep it 100 with y'all. My thing is, I won't let no militiamen coming through my hood. It makes no sense. That's why I tell black people to get on your game. Stop playing around, man. Even Charlemagne was talking about, I encourage every black person to own a firearm. This ain't Tulsa 2.0. And what have you learned from Tulsa, Oklahoma? I encourage not just every black person in that area to own a firearm, to defend yourself, but know your community. What do I mean by that? Know your community. Know every corner, every turn, every alley. Know your community where you walk up and down, not just you recognize the streets. Map that motherfucker out. And you train. And you train. Every Saturday you go to the park and you train. You understand what I'm saying? Now, I'm not telling my people right now to rush these militiamen. I'll never say that. I'm not going to leave my people like lambs to the slaughter. Don't do that. Don't get all riled up. Sometimes you got to be like, you got that. You got that. Understand what I'm saying? Not every retreat is something bad when it comes to battle. Sometimes you got to retreat. You got to regroup and figure out what is your next step. So you got to make sure when you come back, you are prepared. You know every nook and cranny, as I said, in your community, in your hood. And you train every Saturday in your local park. Even on Sundays, even the churchgoers, yes. Maybe right after church, you're going to have to go to the park and do some training. Understand what I'm saying? And whatever tactics that you want to, that's your business. We're not going to talk about that. That's going to have to come from the people on the ground in the streets. So get your tactics together, because you don't let no militia people come up in your hood. Where the G's at? Where the gangsters at? That's what I want to know. That's why I'm not really with all that blood and crip thing right now. I ain't with that. Because you can't be G'd up against each other, but then all of a sudden your joint is being invaded. Where the G's at? You know what I mean? That's what I want to know. So the next time we have this coming through, and you got people in the militiamen that's running through trying to say they protecting property, and they want to come down your block, you best be ready. You best be ready. Block for block, vantage points. Where you gonna be at? Escape routes. Attack routes. 5-6 man team. You know what I'm saying? Because this is not what you call law and order. It's not. I've been to protests. I've been where you've been in the city and people said what they had to say, and you had cops around. Of course, you're gonna have that, and people say what they have to say with signs and out and protesting, and you see the city come out holding down every block. I know. I've been to protests, but this is not the same thing. You got people dressed up in fatigues and army gear just want to roll through your neighborhood trying to bully you back into your house. Now that ain't happening. But Nova, that's crazy. What we gonna do? I don't know. What we gonna do? I'm hearing Barkley saying, oh, y'all want to defund the police? How you gonna defend yourself? What are you gonna do if you take away the police? We ain't for that coon talk. You defend yourself. The community polices themselves. That's what we're talking about. And we have to remember history. And remember, if we don't pay attention and respect history, it can happen again. If you don't act right, you know what I'm talking about. Where them G's at, right? There's a time for Mark Lamont Hills, and there's a time for Gilly the Kid. You know who I'm talking about, Gilly. Shout out Gilly. Shout out to Mark Lamont Hill. I'm all with your Mark Lamonts. But I understand, as I was growing up, If somebody want to fight you, they gonna fight you. There's nothing that you can say, no matter how many degrees, no matter how articulate you say it, no matter how much you want to diffuse the situation. If somebody want to fight you, they gonna fight you. So there's a time for Mark Lamont Hills, all due respect, shout out to Mark. And then now there's time for Gillies. Put those books down and you know what you got to do. You protect your family. You protect your brother, your sister, your cousins. And you come correct. Understand me? And if it's your time, it's your time. You understand what I'm saying? Because if I got militiamen coming down my block in my hood, I'm like, well, you know what? It's just what it is. What it is. This is my time. It is what it is. Ain't no time for cowering. What we gonna do now? If it's coming down my block and I see it coming, there is no way to avoid it. It's time. And God, hey, God, listen, and if my time to go, it's my time to go. This is where I'm coming. Today is the day. It don't matter at that point in time. It don't matter. Ain't no politician, ain't no city council member, ain't no mayor, ain't nobody's gonna stop that point in time when they coming at you. So you best to goddamn prepare. And this is the other side. I'm gonna keep it real. This is the other side. I see what's going on in Louisville. I would love to, in some ways, have people have some sort of relocation program. Because a lot of things, what makes bullies bullies is sheer numbers. And when there's only 20,000 black people in a town that's 200,000 or an area that's 300,000, and it's only you, and you know racism is rife. I was looking up an article, and the article said Louisville, Kentucky is the capital of systemic racism in America. It was some sort of words in that string of words that was put together. I'm like, whoa, really? And a lot of people say, yo, no, what are you talking about? A lot of people are poor. What they gonna do? Well, this is what I want to do. A relocation program. If it is not fit or perfect for your families, then hey, listen, you got to up and bounce. Okay, it happened before. Let's keep it real. Listen, there's a place in Canada. Okay, there's a place in Canada called Halifax, Nova Scotia. Back in the slavery days, when slaves was escaping, they came up north on those routes, that treacherous routes coming up north, and they had to jump the border into Canada, and they went straight to Halifax, Nova Scotia. There is a population of black people that were from America at the time. I forgot the population numbers in Nova Scotia, but yes, they up there and they bounce. And if they could bounce, hey, up there, hey, listen, yo, of course we don't have no slavery, but yo, listen, if you don't like the conditions that you're living in and you want something better for your family, we have to work together and put together some sort of a relocation program to get the people the hell out of Louisville. The people that want better. I'm not talking about you gonna bring that hood shit in someplace else. I'm talking about, yeah, listen, I want to change my life. I want to do what's right for me and my family. I want to take some educational training, some job training, whatever. It's not here. Where can I go? What can I do? This is what we want to do. Starting a relocation program where we can educate and send some people to some new housing or already existing housing where they can start over. That's some real life situations that you're going to have to think about. You're going to have to take the time. Hey, man, this ain't it. They wilding out here. There's nothing wrong with relocating, but we're going to see what we can do as Lyfeblood to relocate people and place them someplace else as we grow that. But that's all a part of building that network, working together, group economics. Okay, so we're going to go into news you need to know, and we'll be back with the last part of this segment. Okay? All right, peace.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Around the world and right in your neighborhood, it's the news you need to know.
Thomas Healy and Hylian makes history in the EV truck business. Founder Thomas Healy stands to be the next youngest billionaire with his new EV big rig truck called the Hylian. Tortoise Acquisition Corp announced that it will be launching Hylian on the path to public ownership. If all goes well, an infusion of $560 million will cover the company's development and its scale-up for the ERX Hypertruck. Mr. Healy, coming from Massachusetts, created the e-axle drivetrain from his Carnegie Mellon College dorm room. The truck is fully electric, as well as having a hybrid version for those who want the option. The technology has been designed with the idea that companies can retrofit their traditional trucks for usage. So far, there are 20 trucks operating with Hylian's electric powertrain via business relationships with Dana Corp and Volvo, all the while Elon Musk is delaying his semi-truck EV until 2021. Facebook starts an oversight committee. Aware of all the attention social media is receiving and the congressional hearings involving Mark Zuckerberg, FB has started an oversight board to analyze and scrutinize content on Facebook. The board will have 90 days to review and make decisions on cases. It is expected a number of issues will turn up as we get closer to Election Day. It will be comprised of 25 or so experts from civil rights, journalism, politics, and other fields. A communication aspect will be a part of this new initiative. They will have a weekly group Zoom meeting on topics such as politics, QAnon conspiracies, militias forming on the FB platform, etc. Facebook Live will broadcast for FB users. Facebook will listen to the panel, but has the ability to ignore any suggestions they present. Will this have an effect on how FB deals with questionable content on its platform? Only time will tell. And that is the news you need to know. Okay, we're going to come into this last segment. And this is just a thought I've been having. You know, just some things going over in my head. And I wanted to share it with you guys. Just to talk a little bit about God. And, it's, you know, this thing has been just rolling over in my head many days thinking about it. And, you know, reading magazines and articles and looking at anything that's science related, nature related. And it just gets you thinking. And I always, now I went to school, I came up Christian, Catholic or something like that, either one, you know. But I'm not anymore. I kind of, because of my understanding of, you know, from the Black American experience and how we kind of got introduced to Christianity, me understanding that history, I was like, well, how can I still be, you know what I mean? So I've always been on this journey trying to find a new path back to my original spiritual self. And that's something that's it's a work in progress. Who knows what it can be? So it made me thinking about religion and spirituality and thinking about God. Made me think, what is God? And stick with me here, folks, because I really want to share this with you guys and ladies. Maybe you thought about it yourself. Who knows? Because this is about building, man. This is just not about the current events of what's going on in hip hop, but this is for adults, you know, people that really start thinking about, you know, other topics other than, you know, what do you call it? Not Kendrick Lamar. What's that fool name? You know, not all topics is going to be about Kanye West and Kim Kardashian and all this other craziness with Torey Lanes, whatever. Sometimes as you get older, you start kind of, you know, thinking about yourself and nature and religion and all these things. So I always say, what is God? Who is God? How do we see God? I think there are many ways where we interpret God. I see, and of course, one primary way, as we understand it, is through religion. That we understand the stories of the Old and New Testament, you know, the 12 disciples, the Ark, Moses, David, and Goliath, all that. And all these stories came from the King James Version of the Bible. 2.4 billion Christians follow these stories. They go to church every Sunday. They worship, you know, the cross and Jesus on the cross and listen to the priest. You take in the Eucharist. It's the Lord's Day. It's the rest day, Sundays. That's the Christian Catholic understanding of what and who is God. That's a part of it as far as going to church and all that and stories and all that. The interpretation. But for those that no longer follow the Bible or any organized religion. What does God mean to you? How does God look to you? I myself, I don't follow the Bible, as I said, but I do understand that God is the all-knowing, the divine, the immortal, the everlasting, the beginning and the end. I understand all these things of what God is. And I believe God is all around us. God is in the trees. He's in the rocks. He's in the water, the sky. He's in the insects. And I say he, and even that's my limitation, because God is not he. It could be he or she or what. But God is all these things: animals, humans, the solar system, the galaxy, and ultimately all of existence, the universe. How do I see God? As I said, in all things, it is within and without. It shows in everything. I believe God is the sciences. God is the metaphysical, the ethereal, the multiverse. God talks to us all the time in the language of life. And how does he do this? How does she do this? The science. Excuse me, the science. The golden ratio as one part of that science. Everybody knows what the golden ratio is. For those that don't, let me just read it to you. The golden ratio is when a line is divided into two parts and the longer part A is divided by the smaller part B is equal to the sum of A and B divided by A, which is both equal to 1.618, the irrational number pi, right? There is harmony in all of its proportional parts. And as you add a curve to this, say, rectangle, if what you think of the golden ratio, and I encourage people to, after this, you can look up the golden ratio so you can see what I mean by these shapes and all of these proportional parts. And if you add a curved line in each of the squares within these within that rectangle, you have what you call the golden spiral. And this is expressed all throughout nature. There's a sharing understanding throughout nature in everything. You see the golden ratio in sunflowers. You see it in plants, a hurricane, a seashell, the top of a person's head, how the hair curves right to the crown, the top of the crown of a person's head. The folds of the ear is the golden ratio. The chain link of fatty acids follows the golden ratio measurement. DNA, the galaxy. Why does this continue to happen? Why? That's my question. Is this God? Is that God talking through nature, through the science? Say the flower mantis. Everybody knows the flower mantis. After this, you can Google it. The flower, of course, it's the praying mantis, but this particular praying mantis replicates a flower. Can we say this is God? Bugs don't choose what they're going to be in the next life. They don't choose. The bug doesn't say, okay, my life is over, I'm going to come back as a flower. You know what I mean? Yet it is birthed imitating a flower. It could be anything in nature, but it becomes a flower. Why? Is this God? Is this God speaking through nature, living through nature? What are these repeated choices that leads to this bug imitating a flower? What are those repeated choices from life and death and life and death and life and death through its generations that eventually leads to it perfectly imitating a flower? And some imitate twigs, and other insects imitate leaves. Amazing to me when I stare at it. Amazing. Now, the same cosmic stuff that makes up the universe is the same cosmic stuff that makes us. This was said in a lot of science shows. The elements that make up the stars, the moon, the comets, the asteroids, the quasars, the pulsars. All of these things make up us. Are we these stars? The quasars, the pulsars, the suns? Are we the sun in flesh and blood? Can we call ourselves the universe? If we are cosmic in another name, let me say this. If we are cosmic in another name, can we also be considered God in another name? Right? How do we explain the unknown, the immaterial world, the spiritual journeys assisted with psychoactive plants? Everybody knows that. Ayahuasca, you got weed, there's tons of plants that I was looking at. I didn't even know there was so many plants. What was the other one? Peyote. Peyote used, in the indigenous people of this land, they used to go on their spiritual journeys to try to figure out their life. There's all these psychoactive plants. Joe Rogan talks about it too when he takes DMT. Is this the journey inside of ourselves, opening ourselves up to God through these trips? How about the woman catching the spirit in church? And I went to a Baptist church and I saw it. Now, let me tell you, most of my life when I was younger years, I went to a white church and it was reading from scripture. And it was, all the, the rituals, whatever like that. People reading from the Bible, listening to Monsignor. And then that was it. That's pretty much white church. That's what I experienced coming up when I was a kid. We sat down, we looked at the book, he spoke. That's it. Probably it was a piano, I think, at one point. Went through the routine. Wrote the script, said 12 Hail Marys, whatever it is. And then we went home. That was like an hour. But you go to a black church. Yo, let me tell you, it's an event. Yo, it's a straight event. The singing, the hollering, connecting with the priest up at the top. Him doing his thing and people. Yo, it is a truly spiritual moment. And it's the difference. And I never went to a black church, to keep it real. I went to a black church in my 30s, late 30s. You know what I mean? And then that's when I saw the woman up in the front. It was an older lady, older elder sister, and she was catching the spirit. It was regular. She was catching it. Everybody was cool. Nobody was tripping. It was just like, that's what they expected. Because at that moment, you at the height and you sing and you dance. The woman started catching and she was speaking in tongues. And I'm standing there. I'm fascinated. I'm like, yo, what's going on over here? And people waited until she finished speaking in tongues. And when she, cooled out, it was like 5 minutes. Went back to the preacher doing this thing. So what is that? I'm going to do, a lot of people don't know that I was into film. Everybody knows, of course. I put my things up on YouTube. So, but my background was in the film. I had a TV show at one point. And one of the projects that I want to do is, and I actually was going to name it Catching the Spirit, because I'm fascinated by it. Why, as much as there's a hardcore Bible thumpers, they're so against, anything outside of their religious scope. They call it the devil, all these things, right? It's the devil, it's the devil, it's the devil, right? You don't believe in Jesus, you're the devil. You know what I mean? But then in Baptist church, this woman is a catch in the spirit, but nobody talks about it. Nobody goes further and goes deeper into this episode. And they just call it Catching the Spirit, Well, one day I'm going to do a documentary on that alone, just going to churches down south and talking to people and really getting into, why we catch the spirit and what that is. And is it connected to also in slavery days when we still held on to our African culture that is sharing those connections. And what does that mean? And kind of like bridging the gap. You know what I mean? And showing the relation. So I won't point out to that. But what is that? Where did she go? Is that God working through her? These are the things I think about. I believe God can be interpreted. It can be shaped, imagined in many different ways. It can be expressed in our understanding of the world around us. God is the world. God is nature. God is us. God. Am I God? I am God. Okay, so that's it. That's all I want to share with you guys. All right, I appreciate you guys listening to me. I think this is an extra long show, but hopefully you do listen to it. Joe Budden says people listen to his show for 3 hours. Hopefully you listen to me. Let's see if you guys can hang in there. I appreciate all the artists that were on the show. They did a thing, even ones that were replayed. So that's Daria, Savannah, KC, Push Audio with Kimbro, and artist and Chris Pritham. And also my brother, I don't want to forget my brother too, have to name him, Chris Jackson. Also, people, please sign up to Lyfeblood.com. I do appreciate everyone that is curious about this new platform I'm doing. It's just not about social media and people talking to each other. It's about creating solutions. It's about using those solutions in our network and having a financial backing to this. Dollar power. So become a Lyfer, sign up, be a Lyfer, and start talking to your people. Have your people join in, and let's start doing something different as what we know as the dilemma in social media. This is what it is. So excuse me, I'm sorry. So thanks for listening. I appreciate it, and I'll see you guys next week. All right, I'm out. Peace.
Yo, check it.
You just listened to GCOM Radio, powered by Lyfeblood.com for the global community.
We worldwide, baby.
See you in the next go round. From right here to your town, we out.